Let's have arguably the most important sesh, and that is how to answer 12-mark questions. The beast that you will find at the end of paper 1 and at the end of paper 2. Let's go through 12 markers. First thing to know, this is where the marks come from. There's 3 marks for AO1. That is different to 6 and 9 markers. So 3 marks for AO1 means do the definitions, unlike 6 markers and 9 markers where there's no need to do the definitions. AO2, 3 marks for linking to the case study, application, and 6 marks for your analysis, and that's also going to include your evaluation and your final conclusion, your judgment. 12 markers, they seem to be coming in 2 types. Type 1, analyse the impact of an event. That event could be moving your factory abroad, for example, to lower the cost of production, and consider Area 1 and Area 2. In this question, it could be Area 1 is ethics, the ethical considerations, and Area 2 is profits, the implications for finances. And evaluate which area, being the 2 bullet points that you'll see, the event, in this case, moving the factory abroad, will have the biggest impact on. So you need to decide this event, which 2 of these points is the most important, which is going to have the biggest impact. The other type of question that you will see is type 2. And this is a business is considering 2 options to increase something. In this case, I've put sales, but it could be increase sales, increase efficiency, increase motivation. There's lots of ways it could be. And then it will give you those 2 options. Here, create a website or repackage a product. Those 2 options clearly will change depending on what the thing is they are trying to increase. And then after that, it will say, similar to type 1, it will say, evaluate which option. So which of these 2 options will have the biggest impact on whatever's there. So you should see this bit repeated there. If it's sales there, it's sales there. If it's efficiency here, it'll be efficiency here. If it's motivation here, it'll be motivation there. Well, that's how the question will probably appear to you. What you need to know is that roughly the structure is the same for either. And this is how I see a good way to answer this question. So step 1 is define the terms, because that's where you're going to get your AO1 marks from, those 3 marks for AO1. So define the terms, but be careful here. You either get direct or indirect definitions. And what I mean by that is that when it's areas, like in type 1, it seems that there's a clear definition. You just define ethics or you define profits in this example. But in some cases, more common in type 2, where you're given options, then it might be an indirect definition that you need to give. The indirect definition, in the case of create a website, you might need to say, create a website, this is a form of e-commerce. E-commerce is, and then go and explain it. Or in the case of repackage a product, repackaging a product is an extension strategy. An extension strategy is, and define it. So that's like an indirect definition. You're given the example, you need to convert the example into what it is and define what it is. So just be clear, there's direct and indirect definitions. More commonly, areas, you just straight out define it. Options, just think what that obviously is. Creating a website is obviously a form of e-commerce. Okay, so define the terms. And if you can do that, then you could think, in my definitions, I've already collected 3 marks here. All the AO1 marks, if you do it sharp and succinctly and accurately. Step 2 is, regardless if it's type 1 or type 2, you need to take area 1, if it's this type of question, or option 1, if it's this type of question, and start working on one of them. The approach I suggest is MELIBA. M-E-L-I-B-A. MELIBA. MELIBA stands for make the point. So whatever your point is, make it. Then explain it in detail with chains of analysis. Then link it to the case study. So you'll be given a case study and there'll be clear hooks, things you can pick out and bring into your answer and put it in quotations. So L, link it to the case study. Then state the impact on the area in this case, or the impact on the sales. And BA stands for impact on other areas. Well, the way to think about it is if you're in a paper that's on finance, think about the other departments. Other departments being HR, operations, marketing. Think about how you could link it to that. If you're in a marketing paper, then link it to operations or finances or HR. If you're in a HR paper, link it to marketing, operations and finance. You catch my drift. You just link it to the other departments in the business. That's the BA, so Miliba. But then the important thing to get the evaluation marks, because it says here evaluate, it says there evaluate, it will always say evaluate. And evaluate, if you're struggling with what on earth evaluation is, then these are the important words for you. However, it depends on. So after you've Milibaed, what does it depend on? However, it depends on. It depends on your website developer being any good. Is the website any good? It depends on if anyone's going to turn up. It depends on if the repackaging of the product is any good. Is it going to make sales better? Is the cost effective? It could depend on many things. It may depend on the exchange rate because the supplies are coming from abroad. So it depends on something. Everything depends on something. Then, once you've done that, fantastic. And let's just put where the marks have come from. So AO1, you've got there. You've also got here AO2 marks from linking to the case study. And then your AO3 marks will come from your explanation. And also, you've talked about the impact on your area. That's going to be AO3 marks. And impact on other business areas. That's important. If you want to get 10 or higher, you need to start talking about other areas. And that's important too. So there's your marks, AO3, AO2, AO3, AO3. Okay, once you've done that for one, you just need to repeat that process again for the other area or the other option, whichever question you're doing. So then it's a case of other option, other area, number 2, Miliba it. However, it depends on. At that point, if you've done that and you've done it well, you're going to be looking strong. Then you need to ensure to get really aim for those 12 out of 12. You need a strong conclusion. You need to take the conclusion. A way I suggest you could do it is think Anthony Joshua knockout, AJKO. AJKO, what it stands for is answer the question, A. So the question says which has got the biggest impact? Which has got the biggest impact? So you need to go option 1 or option 2 or area 1 or area 2 has the biggest impact. That's answering the question. That's the A in AJKO. Now, J. So justify why you've said that. I think area 1 will have the biggest impact because. And there's justifying it with theory, and also there's justifying it with theory and something from the case study, and that's called supported judgment. That looks marvellous. AJ. Answer the question, justify it even better with something in the case study. Maybe something new you haven't discussed already. Then you might want to take the K, the key flaw. With all of these arguments, there's going to be a key flaw. And you might want to go, I appreciate there is a flaw in this. The key flaw is this. However, move to the O, in the short or long term, this will be more successful because. And if you can do an AJKO with all of this, I think you're getting into that top band and possibly getting to that 12 out of 12, which is, well, that's tops, that's different levels. So, I'll go through it again. Define the terms, area 1, Miliba, however it depends on. Area 2, Miliba, however it depends on. Conclusion, AJKO. Good luck with your 12 markers.